Mimi, you want to talk about World War III? Finally, we have come to the third video in a mini-series of 3 videos. The first one called World War II Planned and is World War III being planned. The second video, NATO expansion since 1949, NATO versus Russia. And finally, this one, the third one, World War III, NATO versus the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. We are without a doubt currently witnessing the emergence of a strong East versus West narrative in international politics, which suggests that the current balance of power is being dictated along a cultural and geographical fault line between the East and the West. So in this context, one might wonder whether the SCO has grown to become NATO's Eastern counterpart in terms of global power and influence. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization, also known as SCO, is an Eurasian political, economic and security organization. It is, however, the world's largest regional organization in terms of geographical scope and population, covering approximately 60% of the area of Eurasia and 40% of the world's population, and more than 30% of global GDP. Membership to the SCO consists of member states, observer states, and dialogue partners. It currently has 9 member states, including China, Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, India, Pakistan, and Iran is the latest addition to the alliance after being formally inducted in 2022. Observer states include Afghanistan, Belarus, and Mongolia. The bloc's dialogue partners include Armenia, Azerbaijan, Cambodia, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Turkey. The SCO aims to enhance trust and feelings of neighborliness among nation states, promote cooperation and collaboration in matters of security, trade, intelligence, technology, research, and culture, and collectively work to fight the 3 evils: terrorism, separatism, and extremism. Before we move on, I want to talk about the relations with the West, specifically the United States. You see, it might surprise you that the United States applied for observer status in the SCO, but was rejected in 2005. At the Astana summit in July 2005, with the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq foreshadowing an indefinite presence of US forces in Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan, the SCO requested the US to set a clear timetable for withdrawing its troops from all SCO member states. Shortly afterwards, Uzbekistan requested the United States to leave the K2 airbase. In 2015, a European Parliament researcher expressed her view that institutional weaknesses, a lack of common financial funds for the implementation of joint projects, and conflicting national interests have prevented the SCO from achieving a higher level of regional cooperation. My point of view is that this researcher doesn't really know what she's talking about. But now let's move on to the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. NATO is an intergovernmental political and military alliance that was established in 1949 to implement the North Atlantic Treaty signed after the end of World War II. The organization promotes a collective defense strategy in which all member states pledge to align themselves together against a common foreign enemy. Now, while the NATO started off with 12 members, it now boasts around 30 membership of 30 states, all from North America and Europe. However, we are seeing more states applying for membership. The original members, they were Belgium, Canada, Denmark, France, Iceland, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, United Kingdom, and the United States. Now, it may be worth pointing out that Iceland doesn't even have an army, but strategically, geographically, Iceland does matter. Now, Montenegro is one of the latest member states, joined NATO in 2017. NATO has also recognized 5 potential member states, which are known as aspiring members: Bosnia, Herzegovina, Georgia, Macedonia, and of course, Ukraine. Although some claim, or perhaps it's a fact, the SCO is not exclusively a military alliance. Its member states, however, do participate in joint military exercises and war games. With the induction of India, Pakistan, and perhaps even Iran, we got 4, perhaps 5 SCO members that have significant nuclear capabilities. This may or has obviously definitely strengthened the bloc against NATO. Having said that, of all member states in the SCO, very few meet NATO's requirements for military spending 2% of GDP, which actually puts a great amount of pressure on a select few nations to carry the torch during a conflict. Plus, since member states have not pledged military support, they would be free to refuse involvement in future military conflicts. But what the SCO lacks in terms of joint military capacity, it might be able to make up for in terms of economic opportunities. The markets of several SCO nations have not yet been completely tapped into, and the bloc possesses vast natural and human resources. India and China are 2 of the world's fastest growing economies, and with greater economic cooperation, other SCO member states might benefit from their growth as well. The SCO member states account for more than 30% of the world's GDP. One of the biggest challenges facing the SCO is finding a way to reconcile the divergent political interests of its member states. Now, in particular, we know that there are some tensions between Pakistan and India. However, the SCO's aim of increasing cultural and humanitarian exchanges might help it overcome this hurdle. But NATO isn't as united as many may think either. Member states aren't necessarily compelled to participate in NATO's operations and may even choose to conduct their own operations unilaterally. More and more NATO nations are failing to meet the defense spending requirements, with only 7 countries meeting the threshold in 2018. At that time, US President Donald Trump, who backed out of a landmark NATO nuclear deal with Iran, has suggested time and again that the NATO might be on the decline. Now, if this is true, we might be witnessing a paradigm shift in international relations with the advent of a multipolar balance of power. While the 2 organizations might have overlapping objectives, the mission and vision of these organizations are markedly different. The NATO seems to have more of a global focus, while the SCO seems to be more concerned about internal issues. It might not be the best idea, therefore, to make a comparison between the 2 at all, even though, from my point of view, we need to make a very strict comparison. The SCO, as a body, will pose a direct threat to NATO. But independently, Russia and China might be able to serve as formidable opponents in a conflict. I want to share an assessment which came from Western media and where I see things a little bit differently. You see, the assessment of this Western media, or let's say think tanks, is that while the sheer size and influence of the SCO can give NATO a good run for its money, it cannot compete with NATO in the global political arena. This has less to do with the military and economic capabilities of both blocs and more to do with the objectives of these organizations. NATO was built to be an alliance against a common enemy, and in the absence of one, the Western political bloc might lose its cohesive force. The SCO, on the other hand, was established during peacetime and has interests beyond military collaboration, including its various economic and cultural pursuits in various regions. I believe, therefore, that establishing a powerful presence in Eastern Europe and the Middle East is the key for either of these organizations to be considered the dominant player. Now, we see the tensions between the 2 organizations have, in fact, met face to face, currently in Ukraine. Where some might say that NATO has been trying to build up a presence to counter Russian advances in the region.
предлогом учений на территории Украины практически постоянно присутствовали военные контингенты стран НАТО. Система управления украинскими войсками уже интегрирована с натовскими.
With tensions rising, several countries around the globe, around the world, are now pressured to pick a side. And either way, I feel that the region or the regions in question will remain divided between the two blocs. The SCO member states are currently trying to push their agenda in the Middle East, primarily because SCO member states, including India and China, are dependent on the Gulf for oil. However, advancing into the Middle East could be viewed as stepping on the United States' toes. However that may be, because we are seeing that Joe Biden is not really protecting United States' interest with Saudi Arabia, for example. So it is complicated, and it's going to be more complicated by the fact that Iran has received full SCO membership status in 2022. So amidst growing tensions with the US and Iran, as well as Russia and China, Iranian membership might just force the SCO to set its sights on the Middle East. Now this could either strengthen the bloc or severely weaken it. Before we end this video, I'm going to give you my 2 cents on the dollar when it comes to the expansion of the SCO. I think we're already seeing the SCO expanding not only in the Middle East, but everywhere where they can. I think that we are going to see the SCO being recognized as NATO's common enemy. And I think it's only a matter of time. I hope I'm wrong. In case I'm not, well then, please follow this channel, because it is without a fact that when war arrives, there are few that are able to profit from it. My mission is to guide you through future finance, the future of geopolitical tensions, and make you among the top 1%. My name is Nico Arachi, and I'm the host of Crypto Never Sleeps and Investors Reality.